Phase Hero, the Skeleton Crew review episode on a Tuesday night. I'm BD, joined this evening by Aaron Perrine.
Oh man, you're not a Jedi.
No, I know we never believed it. We got Jamie Jirac.
Hello.
And we got Jenna Anderson.
Hey everybody.
Jamie, quick check-in. Everybody, we let them know that you were unable to make last week's episode because you were, close to the fires, housing people. How are you doing?
Very good. We were totally fine. We were in a weird spot right in the middle of the fires where it looked like we were surrounded, but like we were very far away. So we were just kind of a revolving door of friends coming to stay with us, pets coming to stay with us. It's been pretty insane, but we're safe. We're okay. We're just holding out hope that LA is going to recover. And I did not get to finish Creature Commandos, so hopefully soon I will get to do that. But I'm sad I missed the episode.
I stay a couple nights at Jamie's new place, and she says she had pets over. Is that wow? Wow. All right, y'all. Well, Jamie, we're glad to hear you're doing all right, and we think it's awesome. And everybody in the comment section on Creature Commandos episode, they missed you, and they also shared their appreciation for you helping people out. We all love you for it. I highly recommend watching Creature Commandos. If you're listening to this episode, everybody of Phase Hero, highly recommend having watched Skeleton Crew because that's what this episode is. This is our Skeleton Crew Season 1, possibly entire series, review, discussion, episode. All episodes are available now. We are broadcasting live immediately following the finale, which is our favorite time to go live because it's when everybody's talking, everybody's yapping, everybody's having a good time. But unfortunately, not a lot of people are yapping about Skeleton Crew. I gotta be honest about it. Less than this show deserves. The show's awesome.
I do have to say, I feel like part of it was, I get releasing it when you did, but like literally episodes aired on Christmas and on New Year's to the point where like we forgot to watch them those nights and had to watch them the next day. So I'm sure that like, I know the show has found a following and like everyone who is watching it really seems to be loving it, but like it should have a much more mainstream audience than it does.
I completely agree. I mean, I was very passively watching this show, just sort of, as I said on other episodes of our show here, but I rewatched all of the first 5 episodes, and then I watched that Christmas and New Year's episode for the first time today. I caught up on the show because I had fallen behind. I was slipping on this show, but it's a phenomenal. It's fantastic. I guess it was I saw Christmas, but then fell behind on New Year's and last week. But yeah, point remains. I fell behind, and I feel like if I fall behind, people are really going to fall behind. Like I try to stay up on this stuff, but Jamie's been a champion of this show. You've been.
I mean, that's me in all live action Star Wars. Like there's not a single Star Wars out there that I'm like, I like it because I'm really easy to please. But this show is something special, and I think that maybe some people are like turned off by the fact that it's like about kids, but they're so good.
They're great.
It's Goonies in space. Goonies is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this movie and this show is like really got Goonies energy. So I think that people are going to discover it later and really realize they love it. And I hope that Disney Plus and Lucasfilm give a little bit of time before they're like, we're not making more, because I do think it's going to have a slow burn following, and it's so ripe for future seasons. I really, really hope it gets to continue.
Yeah, we're going to talk about sort of what John Watts has said about possible season 2, what filmmakers, people involved have said. We're going to talk about the ratings because there's been numbers that have come out. So we'll talk about all that for this and as it pertains to our expectations for season 2. But first, let's talk about this excellent batch of episodes we got here. Let's go around with reactions. Everybody in the comment section, please go ahead, share your thoughts on Skeleton Crew. What did you think of this entire season? Did you have a favorite episode? All that stuff. Jamie, you're at the top of the screen. What do you think of Skeleton Crew?
Well, as I just said, I loved it. it's hard because it's like people are like trying to rank them, and I can say that my bottom two are Mando season 3 and Book of Boba Fett, but I still like those. And my number one is always going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sorry, I know that's controversial. And everything in between, I'm like, it depends what day it is for me. Like what's and I think that there's going to be a real rewatchability to Skeleton Crew, and you guys know that's a big factor for me. Like I love Andor. I think Andor is one of the greatest things that has ever been created, but it's not really a super rewatchable show because it's so bleak. Like even though it's beautiful and amazing, it's not one that I'm like gonna pop in Andor today. I just what I like about this, I like all the characters so much. There's so much good Star Warsing in this show. Like all the cool planets we got to see, things we've never seen before. Like the hotel planet was really cool. I had to have to think about it before I picked my favorite episode. I will say is it Kelly MacDonald? Was she one of the aliens on the hotel planet? She was
Yes.
Oh my god, I've never seen Tony react this way to a Star Wars character before. He was like, that's the hottest alien I've ever seen, and that was fun to watch him experience. And I just want to like follow these kids, and I want them to come back I want to see them as adults and 15 years. Like, what are these kids doing? I don't know. I had such a good time, and I just want Neil merch. Like, you guys know I collect Star Wars stuff, and my shelf better be filled with Neils this time next year. My birthday is coming up. I don't think that there's like anything yet, because I don't know why they do that, but I'm ready next year. Neil Nation, let's go.
Neil Nation. Aaron, what'd you think of Skeleton Crew?
I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I don't know why we're in a entertainment period where everything is either the Goonies or Wizard of Oz, but I will take it. Amblin Entertainment helped raise all of us in some weird sort of way, and this thing has all the fingerprints of that all over it. I really want to commend the finale for like goofily finding ways to make all of the episodes' disparate qualities really kind of come into play. And not in like really contrived ways, but like in ways you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's why we did that. That's really interesting. I really want to see Wim get to try and chase his dream. I don't know if we're ever going to get to. The adults, I guess, too, in a weird sort of reversal of roles of these shows normally. I'm like, what was going on with their parents? The kids' performance were really like, I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely. TV on the radio, my man, you're just like, I don't believe you. I don't believe anything. It's like, it will have its own section on TV tropes of adults are useless, which is like very well reinforced by this. I just found it to be really interesting. I love that it didn't try to really outsmart the audience in a lot of ways too, because a lot of people sniffed out some of the turns in this finale. And I like that they could be like, I was right about this thing. It's really fun. So it's as far as trying to do something different, it's great. John Watts still has his fastball. That's awesome. And corner of Star Wars that we get to enjoy now. Another one that's not just the Clone Wars stuff, the original trilogy, the prequels, or the sequels.
Why was Fern's mom so afraid to grab that lever at the end there?
I think just for like the unknown of it, of like her entire life and her entire personality was just the planet and the barrier, and like how scary is the galaxy outside of it. And so I think it was just like there's no way to undo this, and so it was just kind of weighing on her in that moment.
I guess that's fair. I was just like, you don't have another choice. Pull that damn lever. Jenna, what'd you think of Skeleton Crew?
Tough.
Yeah.
What would you say, Jamie?
Oh, I was just agreeing with you, Jenna. Go ahead.
I adored this show so much. I agree with what Jamie said of like Andor is the best show that happens to be based on Star Wars, but like this is the most Star Warsy show that I feel like we've gotten out of the Disney Plus era. Like I've loved Mandalorian, I've loved a lot of what we've gotten in the other projects, but like this just felt so new, but also just reminiscent of the Amblin era, of the spirit of the original trilogy, all of these sort of things. I just was consistently in awe of this show week after week, of how weird it could get with canon without completely alienating the viewer. Just like, all right, yeah, there's a small planet, there's this thing going on. Like we just followed the journey the whole way. And I think part of that is the kid performances were just outstanding. Like they hit the nail on the head in terms of casting and chemistry between the four of them, because it just was so electrifying watching them. I remember when the show got announced and I was like, are we really gonna like sit through 6 to 8 episodes of kid actors? Like how is this gonna go? And they all knocked it out of the park. I look forward to their long and illustrious careers that they're gonna have after this, because I just like they're all superstars.
Well, I'm glad all three of you liked it. I also really freaking liked it. I thought it was great.
There we go. I was about to be so mad at you.
No, this show was really good. Unfortunately, we're not going to have anybody arguing on this episode. I thought it was great. I think you hit the nail on the head. This felt like the most Star Wars-y Star Wars thing on Disney Plus yet. Like Obi-Wan felt very Star Wars as well, I'd say. But this one felt like, yes, I know, especially just, God, I was almost so rude in my description of certain people. But there are people on the internet who get so pissy when you say this, but like Star Wars was kind of made for kids when it was first made. And adults could enjoy it because it had deeper meanings and stuff. It's like Shrek. Shrek's made for kids, but if you're an adult, you get some of them extra jokes. Like, no, you get what I'm saying? Very, not a perfect example, but it makes the comparisons there, but not one-to-one, but like it's there. You get my point. Star Wars was if you were a kid in the 70s that watching Star Wars, it probably really opened your imagination and sent you to a place that you've never been before. And I can't imagine how cool it would be to watch Skeleton Crew as a kid. This was an awesome adventure. This was just pure child imagination. And it was set in the Star Wars world, and it used the Star Wars world as a backdrop really, really well in a period of Star Wars that was so undefined that it had the freedom to really do what it wanted. And I loved it. I thought it was great. Jude Law was great in this, by the way, as well. I know we're praising the kids, and rightfully so, and they should get praise. But also we got to acknowledge Jude Law was phenomenal in this. And the way he kind of had me buying in, is he good? Is he bad? And then in the end, he was just bad. This guy stinks. And I thought it was great. I get it. Jamie, you better agree that Thanos was right then. Like, I'm just saying.
No. I'm willing to fight for Jude in terms of, yes, he was bad in this instance, but Jude's the perfect kind of character where if like we get a season 2, he's the kind of guy that could easily redeem himself.
Yeah.
Like he's not bad. He's not evil. He's had a rough life and he made bad choices. He was the bad guy of this story, but that doesn't mean he's bad. I think that Jude could redeem himself in the future.
I haven't had a job for 5 months. So if I go rob the bank down the street, you got my back?
This is fiction.
I mean, who you robbing? A Bank of America? They can take it.
Okay, let's not be on the record of this conversation.
We gonna play all this in court.
Yeah, it's just kidding. If anything happens at my local Bank of America, it was not me. It was not me. I'm not. No. Dear God, you're trying to make me Robin Hood, Luigi over here. No, not me. Not me. Anyway, no, I understand, Jude, I get it. It's like the story of somebody who doesn't have much, and there is a world where people are just bathing in richness. This planet has so much that they leave it under the ground just to leave it there. And it's like, are they secretly the villains? Like, are the people on Atton secretly the villains here? Because I feel like we, in our world, and a lot of times the people with the money turn out to be the douchiest, but also like there are billionaires who we look at them and we're like, you could take a portion of your money and solve a bazillion problems for people, but instead you're trying to act like we can go to fucking Mars. Like, what are we doing? So I feel like Atton might actually not be the good guy here, even though everybody there seemed like most people there seemed pretty friendly and like they were just kind of living a good life. So can you fault them for it? Is the planet itself? Is that capitalism? What do you think?
Well, they're not hoarding the money. They make the money and distribute it, right? Like that's why they have emissaries. But this is a whole kind of a gray area because I think you're right. Billionaires are evil, but they don't live like billionaires. They live.
They're not.
It's like
compared to a lot of people, though. I think Jude would say they live like billionaires.
You're right.
And
Yes.
I do think BD's onto something of like them not even being aware of like what work they're doing and how much money they have underneath the surface, like is kind of emblematic of the like that is why Jod's motivation kind of does make sense, because it's like, well, if these people aren't really using it, because they also have a line in either in this episode or the one before it of like, it's been so long since an emissary has like visited us. So they're just hoarding the money in the vaults. And it's like, well, this could go to use elsewhere. Because it's also the Old Republic credits was like most of the money. And like that is obviously out of fashion because they're in the New Republic era. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The money spins the same.
What's that?
The money spins the same.
Yes, it does.
Like, especially when you're Jude Law, you're like, he was like Scrooge McDucking himself.
Bathing in it.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest parts of the entire episode. I'm like, ooh, man. I need a gif of it so bad. Go ahead, Jamie. What are you going to say?
I do hope that Neil informs them about their like tethered planet, like the planet that's just like theirs, where they're all fighting each other. I do hope that I will say my only one disappointment about the finale was that there was no kind of button. Like I would have loved to see them like back at school or like kind of like what's the normalcy. That's why I really want a season 2 because I'm like, but what's next? They gotta help people.
Well, that's
things are different.
Season 2 gets kind of funky because this was kind of the story of Skeleton Crew was an accidental adventure. So I'm not saying like, I mean, they're greater, more creative minds than mine, obviously, who would drum this up. But I genuinely have, other than, following Jod and putting him on like a Loki anti-hero redemption tour, and he needs his, unlikely heroes because he just watched his pirates go down. And he kind of smirked when he watched the pirates go down, right? Like we all saw that. That man had a little bit of like, oh, I got an idea from this because they're not going to be around anymore. Watching the Star Wars space, the Ravagers of Star Wars go down. I know Guardians was inspired by Star Wars, but also I could not help but think of Taserface and all the Ravagers, especially in the airlock death threat sequence of it all. But the practical effects in this show were phenomenal as well. Insane. So good. Yeah, this show rocked.
I will say, though, on your point about season 2, I feel like there's a way to still have them go on adventures and not have it be accidental, and also having it be like, what is the planet like now that the barrier's down, now that they're like, enlightened to what the galaxy actually is? Like, I feel like there's story with that. I agree with Jamie that I totally wanted some sort of button or like the next day of just all of the dust settling, because I facetiously really wanted a scene between Neil and Runa. I wanted him to like be, I'm a big action hero now, and so I can go flirt with the girl I have a crush on, and that didn't happen, and that did bum me out, but otherwise I loved the finale.
Like Sam in the bar with Rosie at the end of Return of the King. Like, like, come on. We got to shout out 33 because never has a droid died and come back so many times. Every time he was fine again, I got such a kick out of it. That poor droid, by the end, he's holding his own head. Great Nick Frost performance. One of my favorite things about the Disney era of Star Wars are the droids. Like they have given me so many great droids, and I really appreciate that.
In this finale, there was a moment where I thought Wim's dad was totally cooked.
Yeah.
When he was on that bike and he started clapping, we made it. I was like, there's no way this dude's about to get blown away, though. I was for sure like these kids are about to witness the death of a parent. You don't just sit there and clap. We got away, and live happily ever after. Fortunately, this was a kid's show in the end, but I was just like a blaster is going to come through, and this man's about to be blown to bits right here. But he made it. I was not alone in that thought.
I wasn't worried, mainly because Wim already was down one parent.
That is
like
true.
They're not going to do that to poor Wim, and like him and his father's relationship is so strained that like they need time to build. I don't think they would have ever killed that man with how much work needs to happen in their relationship.
I did think there would be a moment though when like Jod was holding him of like don't touch the dial or I'm gonna kill your dad, like of almost the dad just being like do it, like sacrifice me to save the planet or something like that, and then that could have been this emotional moment. I also love, Jamie, that you're like he's already lost one parent, as if like Luke Skywalker didn't lose like 4 parental family members, and like every Jedi basically loses their parents. It almost is a prerequisite at this point. But yeah, I had so many fake outs, even when Wim is like holding the lightsaber, like trying to wrestle it away like in the air, and then like Fern goes over to help. I was like, this could backfire so horribly if this wasn't a kid's show. Like it could just be so bad, and half of this cast would be dead, but thank God it was a kid's show.
2 things, maybe I'm just bloodthirsty. 2 things from that scene though. For the one you just talked about, I thought what was going to happen was Jod was going to pull the lightsaber in, and right when it got there, they were going to open it, and it was going to kill Jod. And I was like, oh, these kids are about to kill Jod, and they're going to end up doing it together, especially when Fern grabbed it, so that it's not like one has the guilt of killing somebody alone. And I was like, that would be pretty savage, and I'd be here for it. But also, I thought earlier, this is not as bloodthirsty, but this would have pissed me off if I turned out to be right. I had the thought when Wendell was reaching out and making a fist. I thought he was going to snatch the lightsaber off of Jod's waistband. I was like, please just don't be handing out the Force like Last Jedi.
I thought the same thing. Well, until you just disparaged one of my own original plans.
All I'm saying,
what does that even mean, like The Last Jedi? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just not get into that conversation.
Hold on, let me get my broomstick.
As I wear this shirt.
I know. I'm like, I have my Ryan Johnson shirt on. This would be
no shade
battle.
to Ryan Johnson. No, big Ryan Johnson fan. Big Ryan, but just not a fan of everybody. Everybody being able to use the Force. That's not me.
Well, luckily they retconned it for you in the next movie, basically.
That movie sucked.
Anyway, I thought the same thing, BD, about the dad in that moment, but I also thought that that Wim might have a Force moment, and I'm glad that none of that happened, because I was like, it's a possibility. I was also, when Jod was talking about the Jedi that found him, I was like, oh, we're gonna get some name drop, and and I'm so glad that's not what happened. Like, I love that they just they didn't need to. I love connections and everything, but we have so much of that in this universe, we didn't need it here. And I'm so glad they didn't do that with anything.
Yeah, I agree. What else do I have here in my notes? The part where Wim looked up at his dad. I mean, I thought the line was a little cheesy when he was like, "I'm a level 7 systems coordinator," but that's Star Wars. That's Star Wars. It's on brand. But then I thought that was the moment where Wim, who in the first episode went home to the empty house while looking through the windows and seeing families and stuff, got to take pride in his dad and look up and feel like his dad was really cool. And I thought that was a really sweet moment. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
I liked the dad when he started biking with them to stop them, but then he got into it. Yeah. I really liked that when he started having fun. Because dad needs to loosen up a little bit. You know what I mean?
All the parents, those parents have a lot of work to do in general.
They're really were useless though. I was like, wow. I consume an unhealthy amount of anime, and the parents are usually useless. I'm like, this is bad. You guys, you're all very, very, very useless. Do you just water the grass and go to work? It felt very Vincent Adultman. They just go, and I'm like, I go do business.
There was a comment in the chat that was basically they're just big kids. They had their infrastructure and their support system gone, and they didn't know how to act like that. And so it's in a way they were being more childlike than the actual children were. So yeah, you're totally on the money with that.
Yeah, I think that the messaging in this show, whether it was intentional or not, was pretty fun. Whether it was the capitalist type stuff we talked about earlier with how they have so much money, or just parents and roles and kids and imagination and responsibility and just all those kind of things. I mean, the show started as him needing to pass a test.
Yeah.
He did.
Great.
I also want to add the importance of exploring beyond your home, learning about other people and places and things, because that's part of the reasons why the adults feel like kids, is because they're so sheltered. And it's important to get out in the world, people.
And go see the world.
Yeah.
Go see go not touch grass, as they say, as a comeback on the interwebs. But yeah, go see the world. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool out there. Maybe not right now. A lot of parts of the world are on fire or frozen. But if you can. Aaron, what were you gonna say?
Yo, also, I didn't even realize until right now. We never figured out about Pirate Boy. We never figured out none of that. He's just a story. He's just a story. We never got no skeleton, nothing. Yeah. He's just a guy that had a lightsaber, I guess.
I had someone in my comments, I don't remember who it was, I'm sorry, who kept being like, Wim's dad's the pirate. Wim's dad's the pirate. And I'm like, first of all, there's no way that loser is a pirate. But also, I like that we didn't find out who he was or what, because maybe he is still living there chilling, but it's not important. This show, it's not a mystery. We don't need all these answers. It's just I like the idea of some pirate lore you know.
Tell you, Wim's
The
dad.
Pirates raised dad.
Wim's dad survived all that chase in the woods just to catch strays on Faye's hero. My goodness.
I will say to Jamie's point, like I did think earlier in the season that they were going to reveal that like Rened was the supervisor. Like he either had like uploaded his consciousness into a droid or he was still alive and he was just like the big ambivalent. Because I saw tweets that were really poetically putting it of just like he realized that the biggest treasure he could control was people and like a society, and then that was what would have led to that decision. And as much as I wanted that to happen, I think having it still be a droid worked perfectly within the context of the story and just made it like, okay, that is in and of itself kind of like sinister and also just disappointing and easier for them to move on from.
Yeah. I thought Jod was gonna poo himself when he saw that it was a droid because he was gonna get caught. I thought he was like, I could fool people. I don't know if I can fool a droid, but sure enough, saber to the old droid eyeball. That's all it takes to take a planet down. If your planet is at Atton. All right, season 2 stuff. Quote from John Watts to Tech Radar said, "Yeah, we wanted to make sure this season had a satisfying beginning, middle, and end. But if people want to see more Skeleton Crew, we'd be happy to make more." Problem with that, though, is that the ratings apparently are just not, they weren't good. I do think, like you guys said, this is something that is going to have a lot of rewatchability. I think people are going to binge this show. It lives forever now. I think people over time are going to watch it and come back to it, discover it for the first time. I want to pull up the numbers, but I saw the numbers going around on social media, and they were like significantly less than Acolyte's viewership numbers. So what do you guys make of this while I pull those up?
I think what Jenna was saying too, a lot of it has to do with the release schedule. It came out at a weird time. I think Christmas and New Year's, and that's, you know, I also feel like it is the kind of show that requires word of mouth because it's not something that a lot of people are going to see and want to jump to. Like my mom, for example, she likes Star Wars, but she was like, I'm not going to watch the kids show. And I was like, Mom, no, it's really good. Like that's kind of what needs to happen. And that's the problem with the method right now, is that they don't give time for word of mouth and time to let things happen. Like, why do you have to cancel it right this second?
Yeah.
So the 2-episode premiere, according to this report, had 382 million minutes watched between both episodes, which ran for a 75 combined minutes. It's the lowest for any Star Wars show's premiere to date. That's 20% less than Acolyte, which had a 77-minute premiere, so pretty close, but had 488 million minutes watched. That's a lot. That's tough. Book of Boba Fett had 389, but only had a 37, so had less than half the runtime, and still had more minutes watched in its first episode. Of course, that's Boba Fett. This is Skeleton Crew, and those are tough numbers. I want a season 2 of this, but those are tough numbers.
I have faith that we will still get some sort of continuation. Like this is still set in the same rough timeline as Mandalorian, as all of the stuff that's currently being made. Like there are already rumors that the Skeleton Crew kids are going to like pop up in other stuff, which like at this point, who knows? But even then, like I feel like the beauty of Star Wars and like this is the property that more so than most, I want all of the tie-in novels. I want all of the tie-in comics. Like even if you just have to continue the story that way, there is definitely an audience and there's definitely stories to tell there. But yeah, like Amy said, I feel like this is the type of thing that I feel like could still have legs, and I think like they're probably willing to invest in it if it ultimately shows, like the word of mouth ultimately pays off. We also have to acknowledge like film Twitter darlings directed this entire show ostensibly. Like you had David Lowery, you have the Daniels, you had all of these people that like people thoroughly enjoy watching their movies, and like discovering that they're directing a Star Wars show helped drive some people there. So I have a feeling that over time, more and more people are going to be talking about the show.
And also shout out to Bryce Dallas Howard for directing on this too, which was
amazing.
She
Give her a movie.
Yeah, what are we
like? Come on.
What are we doing?
A woman has never directed a Star Wars feature film. Let's go.
I want to. Yeah, well, the Rey movie, if that's happening, is supposed to be directed by Obey Chinoy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I'm not.
We'll see.
But
yeah. I just think I also don't even like. I think this one it's a tougher sell if it came out 6 years ago or 4 years ago, I think it would have had a lot more minutes streamed because it was Star Wars. I think the Star Wars brand right now is in a bad place. I think whether you love what they've put out or you don't, I think there's no denying that the brand power of Star Wars is probably the lowest it's ever been right now. And I think that there's a number of factors. I don't think the movies didn't do very well. They weren't well received. They weren't great. Last Jedi, whether you love it or hate it, it was divisive. And then everybody agrees on 9 pretty much. Acolyte, I mean, at best, also divisive. Like some people loved it, a lot of people hated it, and the conversation is exhausting. So it's just like even talking about Star Wars isn't even fun right now because there's so much toxicity, which sucks. And we do our part to try to remain positive and clear that shit out of our comment section if it ever makes it in. Like opinions are welcome. You're allowed to not like things, but being a dick is not welcome. And it's never too late to stop being a dick. Someone once said in a not so great movie.
The best
but yeah,
Star Wars
I mean,
movie released since Last Jedi.
What's that?
Said the best Star Wars movie that's been released since Last Jedi.
Oh no, that was a Quantumania quote.
Quantumania.
Oh my God, yeah. I see what you did there. I
know Jamie's upset. Jamie, goodness gracious. I want people to like things themselves. I hear all of these numbers and understand that it's a business. Obviously, we live under capitalism, blah, 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 etc. at Emperor. But at the same time, when something's good, the funny thing is that all the Amblin things this thing is built off of, the reason that they're cultural touchstones, because 8 million parents bought them for their kids on freaking VHS. And the daycare is like the one I grew up at. You're going to watch Tron. You're going to watch Air Bud. You're going to watch Homeward Bound. You're going to watch freaking, the works. You're going to watch Sister Act 2. You're going to watch all of it. And you're going to like it. It's going to get burned into your brain. And you're going to end up doing this job for a living because you like movies so much.
But also, that was the way of watching stuff back then. Now it's just like there's so much available all the time. Where it used to be like when I was a kid, I'd pop in The Lion King on VHS all the time. I'd pop in the same Monday Night Raw 3 times over. Like I'd record it, watch it over and over because you couldn't just go watch anything anytime. And it's harder for things to get legs. But I do think, I don't know. I guess I'm just for the sake of argument, just saying, being devil's advocate here. I think Skeleton Crew is something it's undeniably going to gain viewership over time, and it can't go down. And the positive word of mouth is going to help this one, but I just hope it's enough to get it another season because it is good. And like Aaron said, you should form your own opinion regardless of numbers. And I feel like that, we try to represent that. I love this show and I don't see people talking about it that much.
Other than Andor this year, what else is coming on
from
TV
Star Wars?
Yeah, what else is coming? Is it Visions and Andor season 2 and what?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think Ahsoka season 2 is this year.
Yeah, they're filming it this year.
Yeah.
Mandalorian and Grogu just wrapped up. That's next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration is in Tokyo, so probably maybe a trailer for Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Star Wars
Jamie will be there.
Who's gonna see me in Tokyo? Let's go.
I hope I do. I want to go. We'll see. God, I hope I'm able to get out there. But I might be at WrestleMania. That's a tough choice right there. But
Wait, it's the same weekend?
It's the same weekend. What were they doing?
Oh, no.
I can't be in Las Vegas and Tokyo at the same damn time. I might not be in either of them realistically, but I hope I'm at least in one.
Can I just say to your point about finding an audience, I feel like this show is tailor-made to air on ABC. Like if they need programming during the summer, Wonderful World of Disney style, like they did it with Miss Marvel, they've done it with other projects that were on Disney Plus. Like at a certain point, put this on Blu-ray, put this on ABC. I feel like kids and families will not even have been aware that this show aired when it did on streaming and will tune in to watch that. Like there's definitely going to be an audience. It's just like giving the time to be able to let that audience adequately form.
No. Andor, April 22nd is the next Star Wars show, which is nice because not only are we going to wake up to the Daredevil trailer Wednesday morning, which if you're listening to this in podcast form, the Daredevil trailer must already be out. Daredevil March 4th, and that's going to be what, 8 or 9 episodes?
I think 8 or 9. Yeah, around there.
That's essentially going to roll us into Andor. That's kind of exciting if you ask me. What a time to be alive. I would love to see Star Wars get back to its glory days. I remember when The Force Awakens was coming out, and it just felt like everybody was everybody was excited for this movie. Right? Like, do you remember that? 2015, right? 2016, maybe?
I'll say this. I've never been more excited for a movie in my life than Force Awakens. I truly, number one, top tier, most excited I've ever been in my life for anything.
And how far we've fallen. Like, it's crazy. It's a bummer, but these things happen. I think Star Wars the excitement will come back and stuff.
And I think that we talk about this with Star Wars, talk about it with Marvel, and I really think like some of this blame has to go to Disney Plus, Disney, like, and streaming in general. It's not just these franchises. Streaming has screwed up a lot of things, and it's funny to watch like cable slowly coming back because it like kind of is. Like,
I mean, there's no doubt. The live program. I have no doubt that Disney Plus will have channels that are 24 hours a day showing things. And if you want to watch Skeleton Crew new episode, you got to watch it first on the channel at the same time as everyone else, probably with commercials, and then you can stream it after that. You can do on demand after it airs. But I think that it's being proven right now, the fact that Netflix spent $5 billion on Monday Night Raw, that sports are in such high demand right now in entertainment. The numbers just keep going down across the board everywhere. There is no phenomenon right now. There are very popular things. You got Squid Game that becomes a moment, then takes 23 years for a next season. You got House of the Dragon that takes 16 decades between seasons. You got all this stuff. They're not even going to have to recast people. They could have just shot the first half of season 1, done the second half of season 2, and everybody would have been old enough to play themselves. But all these streaming shows take so long. There's too many options. It's not sending people to theaters. It's too easy, too convenient. And I think the business side of it we've got into already. I think streaming was a mistake, both from the studio perspective and for the fandoms. But yeah, I totally agree. Anyway, Skeleton Crew, let's give it a 10 score. Jamie, you're at the top of the screen.
I don't believe this is on Letterboxd, but if it was going to be on Letterboxd, I'd give it a 4.5. So let's go with a 9.
Hey, Jenna, what you got?
I'm going to say a 9 too. I feel like I couldn't ask anything more of this specific kind of project. I feel like it thoroughly surprised me in ways that I wasn't prepared for. We didn't even talk about like what our favorite episodes were, but the ones where like the group kind of splits off and it was KB and Wim and just everything they talked about there, that episode blew me away. Like that is my favorite Star Wars related thing we've gotten in the past couple of years. So yeah, 9, absolutely.
Aaron, what'd you think?
9 for the algorithm. I want more things to get made that aren't reminiscent completely of other things. So yeah, like I was thoroughly surprised. I was like, man. And also, Sarah Finn casting.
Yes.
She don't miss.
Yeah.
She don't miss.
Wait, hold on. I got to call. It's Sarah? Yeah, I love to talk about Nova. No, let's do it. She would never, because she doesn't miss. She doesn't waste her time either. I also give Skeleton Crew a 9 out of 10, which I can throw the calculator away. I think that's our first time.
No.
Never happened before. 9 out of 10 across the board. Phase Hero score for Skeleton Crew. We got 9.5 in the comments, 9.1. We got a 9 out of 10 from Gold Searcher. Is that Jod? Is that Jod? We got Chris giving it a 4.5 out of 5 Republic credits. Old Republic credits. Skeleton Crew was very good. I think it even had scenes, just like those scenes we talk about where it's like you just need scenes of characters sitting around having dinner, talking, not progressing the story but progressing their relationships. There was that in this as well. It was just very good. Top to bottom, I thought Skeleton Crew got better as it went and ended up landing its finale, which doesn't always happen on these streaming shows. It was good. And if you have a friend, tie them to the couch, tape their eyes open, and make them watch it, and if they've fallen off Star Wars, because it is that good. Disclaimer, that's not a real suggestion. Will not be held accountable. Aaron, any last words for today's show?
Oh, it's at Some Lake Hornet. Thank you guys for coming through, watching some Creature Commandos, talking about our good friend GI Robot and these supplements. Go watch that episode.
Jamie?
Gold Searcher in the comments says, nope, I'm not Jod. Likely thing for Jod to say. Just putting that out there. Follow me at Jamie Jarek, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, Instagram. I got a really cool new tattoo if you want to go check out pictures of that. Thanks, guys. I'm excited. I was sad I missed last week. We didn't get to talk about the Golden Globes because our city was on fire. I'm like, there's just so much we didn't get to talk about. Hopefully we're back on track. Love you guys.
I think we are. I think we're back on track. Also, I just have to shout out Jorko and Jobo, like Neil's little siblings, because the cutest character design I've ever seen. And it was like Neil was already cute, and then you introduce an entire family of Neils, and I'm like, I don't know how you could possibly dislike this show. It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. And just take care of yourself. As we kind of mentioned at the start of the show, the world's kind of crazy right now. Just take care of yourself, whatever that looks like.
Congrats to Jennifer topping 4,000 subscribers
Thank you.
on her YouTube channel. Continue to support that and continue to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for the support. I have a Batman video coming, and it's about Robert Pattinson and James Gunn. It's just an opinion piece, and I can't wait for everybody to hate me for it. Daredevil trailer, Face Hero is all, it's all of it on the channel. And thank you so much to everybody who has joined our Skeleton Crew review. This has been a lot of fun, and please leave a 5-star review. Play our show for your dad, play it for your cat, and take care of your friends. Check in on your friends if they're in California. Check in on Aaron and Jamie with us on Face Hero, and feel free to message them to find out they're doing all right. I've stalled long enough. Here's the outro.